Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy over here is Evil Mike, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Starting out the week, depending on when I release this, it might be Sunday or Monday, but I hope you had a great holiday weekend. I hope everybody had a great Halloween, got to dress up, got to go trick or treat, whatever the cause. Maybe you got to go out to some haunted houses or visit a creepy cemetery, something like that. But I hope you all had a great holiday. Mine was pretty fantastic. So I got a review for you, and this was like a tie from my read of the week. And let's get into it. So this is Image. This is Hellcop #1. It is under their Shadowline Productions, which I'm a big fan of. And the team that brings you this book is actually a team from one of my favorite comics from Image, but that is Sonata. But the team, let's get into it. It is written and illustrated by Brian Haberlin, and then we got colors by Geirrod and Dyke, and letters by Francis Takenaga. I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of those names. I'm gonna read you the little synopsis real quick, and it'll help me do the review a little bit. But it says, in the late years of the 20th century, that mankind first broke down the walls between dimensions. Suddenly, instead of one reality, we were faced with a multiverse. A secret government project was undertaken to study and catalog this endless plethora of newly discovered dimensions, but nothing could have prepared for these men of science for what they would find in a known reality, plane 1301-A, which was hell, literally. It says, the seven circles, lakes of fire, the river Lethe, every component of humanity's conception of the underworld, all mixed together in one lethal cauldron. A covert security force was quickly assembled to patrol the hell plane and ensure that none of the nastier Dinsians make their way earthside through natural occurring soft spots that exist between the world and the next. This was dubbed the Pan-Dimensional Security Corps, or better known as the Hellcops. And it quickly takes you in. We run into our main character, Virgil, and he's kind of, as the comic goes, we get to hear like a little bit of his backstory and his thoughts and stuff, but basically he's kind of like running from something on a plane, and they don't really show you what, but something big and trying to eat him and stuff. And then they kind of jump forward, because this would be like a flash forward scene, and then they jump forward to like the main story and stuff, and really it's about Virgil and his partner, and they're on like a routine check, being called out to location. It looks like an apartment building or something. They do, break the door down and enter inside, and to find a big, kind of looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he's hunched over, and it looks like he's snorting lines. They run in, shout Hellcop, and he tries taking off, and they do make a comment about like how when they do find demons and stuff like that have left the hell plane and entered other planes, stuff like that, for some reason they always try to run up instead of down, and they make jokes about it because they don't have wings, they can't fly, but for some reason they don't understand why they always run up and not down. So with this knowledge, Virgil kind of chases the demon or whatever, and his partner is upstairs on the roof just waiting for the guy to make it through the door, and they end up capturing him. They do make this funny comment about what he was snorting, and they have found out that for some reason like Sweet and Low and Aspartame is known in hell as a form of cocaine. They snort it and it gets them high. So supposedly, if you've ever encountered like a low run of Sweet and Low and Aspartame, which I use currently, it's in my coffee right now, that if you ever ran into that sort, it's just because demons are coming over here and stealing it to get high, supposedly. So at that point, they end up capturing the guy, and they're taking him back. They put him in like these futuristic-looking handcuffs, and they're walking him down through the apartment building. And as they're getting to the exit, they end up running into another individual, and it turns out to be another demon. He sees the Hellcops. He shouts out, "Oh, Hellcops!" and he ends up taking off. And they're like, he's got to be guilty because he took off running. Virgil separates from him and he goes chasing after the individual, and he does end up catching up to him, grabbing like, his shirt and stuff, and it ends up having like a necklace that Virgil does end up snapping off and taking. As this is happening, the demon, which is a smaller demon, he's probably like, that size compared to a human, he does turn around and he smacks Virgil in the face. And we find out something else, that magic does exist in these other planes, like we kind of have the knowledge here, but it's not like wizards and stuff like that. You don't need any conjuring abilities or anything like that to have magical abilities. Basically, in this comic, in this world, it's set up on artifacts. So as long as you are able to get a wand, basically you can cast spells with that wand, and it just depends on what spells are loaded up in the wand. So when this demon does hit Virgil in the face, he has some kind of gauntlet that has a magical, power pack to it. And he said, he even makes a reference, but he says he felt like he got hit by like the Hulk or Superman or something like that, and he was lucky that he didn't take another hit or it would have killed him. After like shaking off the hit, the guy that the demon ends up getting away. Virgil does have the necklace that he got from the guy, and he ends up like kind of staggering back to his partner. Excuse me. Get a little dry in the throat. So anyways, he does get back to his partner. They end up taking the first demon that they, that they captured, and we get to see them teleport out of this plane, and they teleport back to like the Hellcop, headquarters or whatever. They're greeted by an official, and as you go in this comic, it seems like everybody has a problem saying Virgil. They just call him V. But at this point in the comic, they kind of make that reference going forward, that everybody you meet, they just call him V, and he even like, I don't understand why they can't say Virgil. At this point, they do go back to headquarters. They turn over the captured, convict that they got, and they are planning to take him back to his Hellverse where he came from. As they are there, Virgil starts trying to figure out what the necklace that he got, because it did have a pouch, and as he takes out the pouch, it looks like a little Egyptian scarab, kind of pendant thing that's inside the little pouch. Inside the headquarters, they have this like scanner thing, because he forgets he has it in his pocket as he's getting back to headquarters, and he's logging in all his evidence or whatever. As he's logging in the evidence, they have some kind of scanners or something, and they detect he has some kind of alien artifact or something that that these scanners are not familiar with, and they're asking him to present it. After forgetting, he's like, oh yeah, I did grab that. He pulls out the pouch, and that's when we see that it's like an Egyptian artifact. He is not aware of what it is, and when the scanner scans it, it doesn't come up with anything. It doesn't even recognize that anything is in his hand besides a foreign object. It doesn't like make out the shape or anything like that. And they do permit to try and scan it like 4 or 5 times, and then nothing ever comes up. Sorry about that. My phone is supposed to be off. It has a mind of its own today. He is greeted by one of his, I would say, subordinates, in the Hellcop, headquarters, and he even questions this guy about this artifact. When the guy sees the artifact, he kind of makes a comment like, it's probably nothing of use, but the way he does it leads Virgil and the reader to believe that, he does know something about it, and he's kind of like nonchalant, like trying to get Virgil onto different subjects kind of thing. The book proceeds further, and it's like Virgil and his teammate, and they're kind of relaxing, and after a long day's work and everything, and they kind of just have this diner situation where they're eating and talking and stuff, and they're kind of going more into the artifact that he found and stuff like that. Kind of setting up where the investigation will go on this artifact, and he starts questioning his teammate about looking into certain avenues, certain things that he's felt were weird, and one of the things that pops up is this Senator Reynolds persona, who's supposed to be in charge of like all the dimensional security forces that they set up, and then specifically the Hellcop thing. And they start talking about, I wonder if, they wonder if this senator knows, everything that exists and stuff like that. And of course, you have to imagine that he doesn't, or something like that, or maybe he does in a nefarious way. Or they haven't got that far. So basically, at this point in the book, Virgil breaks off, and it's straight this investigation on this artifact. They show him jumping through different planes, and he's interacting with different demons and creatures and aliens and stuff like that. And most everybody he shows this thing to, they never really know anything about it. And there is like while he's doing the questioning, there is like a little sub story that starts to pop up, but you find out that it's about Virgil being single, and you do find out that he was married before this story starts, and recently somehow he had lost his wife or other due to something like bad that happened, and he is still, even though it seems to have happened like years ago, he is still trying to get past that, because the single thing does pop up quite a bit. His partner is a female, and she brings it up, and some of the people, the demons and aliens and stuff that he does question, they even kind of bring it up because they know Virgil, like maybe on a cop status kind of thing. But they do mention it on the cover, and they mention, they show different things, but on the cover they do show, on the back of the cover they showed like cherubs with wings and tattoos. And it is expressed that the cherubs in this book, that they're in like their own verse or whatever. They have their own plane or whatever, because everybody stays away from them, because supposedly the cherubs, even though they look babyish and friendly and everything, they have like a real different mentality in this world. That they're kind of very crude and mean, and all about profanity supposedly. And there is a scene where he goes and talks to them, and he doesn't get any information besides like a whole bunch of profanity thing, and it's not translated for the comedy side of it. He does reach out to like some things that look like gods kind of thing. There's this one, it looks like a floating island, like talking head kind of thing. Reminds me of Ego, the Living Planet. But he does go to like some gods or whatever, and asking about the artifact, and this one god specifically is supposed to be this all-knowing creature that has existed for millennium, and even he does not know anything about the artifact. They do show him going back to headquarters and meeting back up with his teammate, and he just explains that on the foot his investigation wasn't coming up with too much. Somewhere in it, when they're talking, she tends to go back to the Senator Riddle's sign of the questioning, and she says that she's going to start looking into that, trying to be secretive and stuff, because it's supposed to be their boss or whatever, and so they're not supposed to be investigating him. And in the real world, in our real world, because Earth exists in this story, he's supposed to be from Earth, and he's supposed to be our liaison who's taking care of all the planes or whatever. So Virgil does set up his partner with like, hey, I need you to break into the FBI, let's look into this guy further, kind of thing. And they leave it at that. They do show that because they're at headquarters, and we've already seen that thing that comes and scans that artifact. Those same scanners are everywhere, and the whole conversation that they had was being recorded and watched, probably by the senator, who's now flagged them for, talking about what they're talking about. It goes home. It goes past this door, and he leaves. He wakes up in his apartment, probably that night or something, and he gets a call from his teammate, basically saying that she has found some information, and she needs to see him right away at her apartment so they can talk about what she found. So he does find this really strange, that she is calling him and like didn't send a text message or pictures or something like that. But nonetheless, he does get dressed and stuff, and he starts to go out, stating that she doesn't live that far away from where he is. As he leaves, we do see some like shadowed type of entities that are following him, and he finds it very odd that people are following him at the late hour, and him being a Hellcop type of thing. He does make it to his partner's apartment, and And when he walks in, he sees that his partner is dead on the ground, and she was shot in the face. And as soon as he sees his dead partner, of course, the people that were following him, and there's people in the apartment with him, but they are all the other Hellcop personnel, and specifically one of the guys that he talked to earlier about the artifact, the one that said it probably wasn't anything, the one that we kind of got the feeling that he was lying or whatever, and now Virgil is in this setup situation where they are accusing him for the murder of his partner, and it looks like it's all set up because of his investigation on that said artifact. And that's where this issue leaves off. I mean, for me, the art is probably like one of the highest selling points of this book. The art is, I mean, it is phenomenal. I loved every single panel, every single page. The book is very easy to read. Even all the synopsis and everything. It sounds really complicated to get into, but the first couple paragraphs, it's pretty straight and simple. The way it's set up. But I love the whole the multiple mysteries that are going on and the questions that keep us further. If you have a chance to pick this up, I would highly recommend it, especially since it is the first issue on an ongoing series. I have read the previous series that this team has done, and I enjoyed that whole series all the way through. I have reviewed, it was one of my first reviews on this channel with Sonata. But hey, that's my review. I do know that there is a 3D copy of this book. I don't know what that would look like, but I can tell you that the panels and everything are set up to look like things would jump out of the page. So if you get a chance to grab that 3D version of it, I highly suggest that. Seems like it would be kind of fun. Hey, but that's my review. I got a lot more coming. I'm behind on little stuff. I've read a lot, and I just need to do the review version of them. So be on the lookout for a lot of different videos that should be on the way. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please comment. Tell me what you thought about this review, the book, if you have read it. If you saw it, why'd you pass it up? That kind of stuff. All right, guys. Bah!